welcome to the Bullcast Podcast. I'm Katie Pickler, and with me today is Court Winsett.
Hello, Katie.
Rating
we are
it.
sans Cam for the third episode in a row.
know.
Where did this guy go?
He's gone.
He's just disappeared. He's off the map.
Yeah, I don't know.
I wonder if maybe
back.
he is suffering from compassion fatigue.
Ooh, compassion fatigue. It could be. So many people, whatever their job title is, there's usually a lot more to it than what the actual title is, and that people will bleed over and have other types of roles. And I've often joked and said, not even really joking, I'm being serious, that our job, whether it's us in our capacity as advisor, Court, your role as from the financial aspect, but also from the legal aspect, we end up being a sounding board for people. We hear their good stuff, their bad stuff, their concerns, their frustrations. And what does that kind of sound like? It's similar to a therapist. Mm-hmm. And, not at all saying that we are a therapist, because we are not. Well, we have not gone through the schooling. We are not licensed therapists, but therapy buddy can be anybody. And it's just who you confide in and who you talk to, and that they're hopefully giving you sound advice, or there's somebody to listen.
I personally have a theory about this, and my theory goes something like this. Your personal finances are a topic that most people are as reticent to talk about as they would be their intimate details.
Yep.
Sex life, their deepest,
religion, darkest secrets.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It is up on the board of things that people do not like to talk with others about. And so if you have somebody that comes into you and is just divulging all of their financial information, then I think the relationship becomes pretty intimate pretty quick.
They'll tell you anything.
It's easy for them to tell you pretty much anything.
Yeah.
Because if they're like, well, if they know this,
they feel
about me,
comfortable, and that you know the skeletons in my closet. You know everything about me. You've seen me naked, essentially. We have not physically seen our clients naked.
Not a one.
But it's one of those that it really is that relationship that you have with your trusted financial advisor, your attorney, whoever it may be. I came across an article about compassion fatigue that really kind of talked about what it was. And that's something that, we can talk about with our industry, but there's many of other industries that this happens. And it could be even not necessarily your industry, but you could just be this person in your friend circle, in your family circle. We're going to talk about compassion fatigue and kind of what to look for with that, and, dip into a little bit of, different things that you can do to take care of yourself. We're not going to try and get too touchy-feely with this, because, that gives Court the ick.
Yeah, no, I don't like touching or feeling.
So our list is going to be some of the TV movie therapists that Court and I can remember. Now, we're not saying these are necessarily the best, and I know there are tons out here, because as I'm looking at this list, I'm remembering that the newer show that you and I think have talked about, Shrinking, we don't have that on this list.
Yeah, that's true. That show is amazing in so many ways. Harrison Ford was nominated for an Emmy.
Oh, wow. I
his
started
role.
that. I haven't finished it, but it's really good, because it's got Jason Segel and then
Segel and Harrison Ford, and
I don't remember her name, but she's kind of up and coming too.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, this is not necessarily the best. This is not all of them, because there's some that we have thought of recently. Have you seen number one?
I have seen number one. Dr. Ben Sobel from Analyze This. This was...
And then Analyze That.
Yeah. This was Billy Crystal and Robert De Niro. It was funny.
Yeah.
Billy Crystal plays the therapist. Robert De Niro plays a
mob
boss, and he's going to... He gets assistant. Basically, Billy, I think if I remember, it's been a while since I saw the movie, but Billy turns into his consigliere.
Yeah,
and is
he's like his buddy that he's got his goons with the mob, but then Billy Crystal's right there with it.
Yeah,
which it kind of, I'm going to bounce around. It kind of is like The Sopranos, because there's the therapist on The Sopranos as well. That was Dr. Jennifer Melfi. One I've been watching recently that I guess this is why it's hot on my mind is Dr. Linda Martin in Lucifer. Have you seen Lucifer?
I have watched like the first episode, I think, but I just
rewatched the whole thing, and it's fantastic.
Isn't it like 9 or 10 seasons? I mean, it ran for a while.
Yes. But it's been going on in the background for like a couple of weeks now. So it's not like I sat down and was like, let's do it. Because what's interesting is I had watched it before. I thought I had watched it all before, but as it's been on the background, I'm like, I don't remember that episode. So there must have been episodes that I skipped when I watched it the first time, or it was, as we all get, you have it on and you fall asleep and then you wake back up and you're like, oh, okay, well, I don't know that I really need to go back.
Yeah, no.
But
frequently.
so Linda Martin is the therapist for the devil and then also a demon.
Yep.
And then there's all kinds that flows into that. Then she gets involved with an angel and lots of different stuff. But it's got to be interesting trying to give advice to the devil.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, he's probably got all kinds of abandonment or rejection issues.
It talks a lot about his relationship with his father.
Yeah.
So the devil's not that much different than the rest of us. We all have parental things that we need to talk through.
Okay, well, since you did some skipping around, I'm going to do some skipping around too because I don't recognize the next one on the list. So I'm going to go down to Dr. Fraser Crane. Fraser was originally on Cheers and then had his own spinoff TV show called Frasier, fittingly. And then I think recently they
made a new one,
and I haven't watched any of the most recent one, but Frasier was a highly popular show back in the day, and I remember it being amusing.
Yeah, because he had the radio show, and so people would call in.
Yeah. This is Dr. Fraser Crane. I'm listening.
So he's publicizing his advice to everybody to hear. Another one on this, Tara Knowles, Dr. Tara Knowles from Sons of Anarchy.
Oh, wow. You really are doing some skipping. Okay.
I loved that show. And then again, so she is being a therapist to a bunch of motorcycle gangs.
Yeah. I've never seen Sons of Anarchy either. So
oh, it's good.
I heard, like, when I first started working here, I remember walking into work one day, and the office manager at the time was talking to one of the accountants at the time. Neither of them are here anymore, but they were talking about Sons of Anarchy. And I walked in on the conversation. I was like, what is this show you're talking about? And she's like, it's Sons of Anarchy. If you haven't watched it, you've got to watch it.
Yeah, it's really, really good. And Katie Siegel in that TV show is a badass.
I want to say that I watched A Million Little Things, but I do not remember a thing about it. But anyway, Dr. Maggie Bloom from A Million Little Things. So
She's the one that ended up getting cancer.
Okay. The only thing I remember about this show is that it had the guy who was the star of a TV show called Psych in it. I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
And I watched Psych, which was not about a psychiatrist. It was completely unrelated to any sort of psychiatry whatsoever. But another show that was related to Psych, because it was also on the USA Network, was Monk. And Monk had a therapist, Dr. Charles Kroger, who I really liked. And Monk was a detective who lost his wife to, I think, an unsolved murder, and it sent him spiraling, and he ended up having a really, really bad case of OCD, and was trying to cope with the death of his wife, trying to cope with his OCD, and went to a therapist, obviously. But then in the meantime, when he wasn't in therapy, he also solved crimes. And episodic crime shows are a staple of my household.
A couple other ones on here. Then we got Dr. Linda Freeman from 2.5 Men.
Don't remember her at all. Never watched 2.5 Men.
Did you watch it with Charlie Sheen or did you watch it with Ashton Kutcher? Then Dr. Sidney Friedman from MASH.
I mean, I recall there being some crazy people on MASH. I didn't recall there being a therapist on it.
I didn't either, but apparently he was there to help them out with their needs.
Okay.
I don't know that they took him up on a lot of advice.
I mean, I remember the priest. I remember all the doctors. I don't remember a therapist. Weird. Okay. And then the last one on here, you actually reminded me that Faye Dunaway played a therapist in Thomas Crown Affair. And I had forgotten that Pierce Brosnan went and saw a therapist, apparently.
Yeah, because that movie, in addition to, there's several other movies that are filmed this way where it's like they're telling a story, but it keeps flashing to the therapist office. And so it's like he's just a billionaire complaining to her, and she's just trying to calm him down. But clearly there are a lot of different movies and TV shows that have therapists, psychiatrists, things like that in it. So we did not hit everything possible, but these are some of the ones that we thought about.
Right.
That's our list.
Katie, what is compassion fatigue?
Okay, so these are for people who work in caregiving professions, doctors, lawyers, veterinarians, and yes, advisors. Compassion fatigue is common. When you take care of others as part of your job, you frequently see or hear about ongoing suffering, which can take its toll in the form of burnout and secondary traumatic stress.
So basically, this is an issue that people that care for other people.
Yeah.
And this I will
I'd
go
even
so
throw
far,
teachers in there.
Well, I would go so far as to say not just teachers, not just professions, but one of the things that I hit on a lot when I'm talking to people is a lot of times with older couples, one of the two people in a partnership ends up being the caregiver for the other one.
Yeah.
And a lot of times what you find is the caregiver will end up having worse health issues than the party they're caring for.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of it is because of the stress that being a caregiver can cause.
Yeah.
I know, I mean, on the completely different end of that spectrum, right now you're going through a lot of stress as a caregiver for a couple of twins.
I was to say, yeah, it's I'm definitely getting compassion fatigue trying to figure out what do you want. It's as I was telling Court, Kinder is having real tears and it breaks his mama's heart looking and there's real tears rolling down his face. And now he's just crying because he's fussy or mad or whatever. But it's, compassion fatigue can be so many different people. It doesn't necessarily have to be your profession. And so again, that's why I started this out with, you could be the one in the family that everybody goes to and complains. You could just be a mom. You could be, the friend group person that everybody complains to. And you take so much of it, but eventually it starts wearing you down. And I know that I've had it over the years working in this industry that you feel for people and you hear their stories and you want to help their successes and you want to be there for them. But there's sometimes that there's nothing anybody can do.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part. We've talked about burnout before with professions, with your job, you're tired, things like that. But burnout from compassion, from being involved with these different things and really taking it on.
You're basically absorbing somebody else's stress and somebody else's problems. And whether or not you actually are stressed yourself personally about the same things or are just simply hearing about it from whoever it is that you're dealing with, you take on a level of stress because of the fact that you're listening to this so much from other people. And it
could be just little bits at a time. Like, okay, you talk to somebody who's really worried if they're going to be able to afford to take care of their kids now that they're divorced. And then you've got somebody else who comes in worried, are they going to be able to take care of their dad who's aging and not doing well? And, so it's all these different micro things that not just one of them would have been fine, but then when you couple it together with a whole bunch of other things, it's a lot on you. It's long hours, not enough time to really process because you need to process that as well. And if you are good in what you're doing and you truly are involved, then you take that home with you. Yeah. You're still thinking about that person.
Yeah. One of the things that occurs to me is that in a lot of different occupations and also in just being a caregiver for somebody, whether they're aged or disabled or whatever, in all of those things, the appropriate response to a person is who maybe is lashing out at you because of the level of stress or the level of difficulty that they're experiencing would still be to respond with compassion. But sometimes it just gets tiring.
Yeah.
I get tired when somebody is yelling at me and I know that they're not angry at me. They're just angry at life or whatever. But it just, stop yelling at me. And I just want to go hide.
Any capacity, whether you're a caregiver for just a family member, whether you're a doctor, an attorney, an advisor, you have to give your attention to the person you're with and you can't let them see you're burned down, you're beat down. And so then it's almost who takes care of you, which is why I think a lot of times, and I think they talk about it on Shrinking, most therapists have their own therapist to try and help them deal with it.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I think that's, I don't know if it's a requirement by profession, but I know that I have seen multiple TV shows that featured a therapist where they also had a therapist.
Because we're human. And so if we just left talking to one person and, they have some serious stuff going on with them, and then we go and talk to another person and to them, it is very serious stuff. But in comparison to what we just heard, it's nothing. but you have to know, like, that's that person's really serious stuff going on.
Yeah. So this is a legitimate condition that people suffer from. It can cause health issues for you. It can cause, I mean, like if you don't deal with it, it could potentially have really deleterious effects on your life, on your health, and ultimately on how long you live. Signs of compassion fatigue. How do you know if you have it? They are obvious signs that anybody might experience for a lot of different kinds of stressors. Difficulty concentrating, insomnia, physical and mental fatigue. You may be inclined to bury your emotions or basically stuff away because, like you said, if you're a doctor and you've got to put up a brave front for a patient, you don't really have time to deal with your own emotions. It could cause you to feel hopeless, feelings of hopelessness, frequent complaining about your work or your life. Excessive use of drugs or alcohol.
Yeah, to bury and numb the pain.
Yeah, absolutely. Overeating. Who doesn't like a little comfort mac and cheese along with a giant beer? Poor self-care. And denial. Denial's one too. So I don't know. I'm obviously
denial is one of the most detrimental symptoms, is what this says. It prohibits those experiencing compassion fatigue from accurately evaluating how stressed they actually are, which can be a roadblock to getting the help they need. Compassion fatigue can develop in response to volatile markets, but it can also be triggered while older clients begin to pass away or when dealing with issues in your personal life, such as caring for aging parents. So, again, there's a lot of different parts of this. And so this episode is more to bring awareness. There is no, here's your answer. If you got compassion fatigue, go do this, because every situation is so unique. It can be in so many different capacities, just like we were saying with advisors. We're trying to make sure we're the absolute best we possibly can be for our clients. That's our fiduciary responsibility, to make sure we're doing the best for each of our clients. And a lot of times that, I know a big heart, and so I want to be everything to everybody. That's where a lot of times if I've got, a young kid trying to make ends meet and figure it out, then it's like I get so wrapped up into trying to help him. But then I've got somebody else who really needs me. And so you can spread yourself so thin.
Oh, yeah. And
so making sure that you are taking care of yourself, because it's like the airplane, put your oxygen mask on first before helping others.
Yeah.
You can't, what are all the different things? You can't pour from an empty bucket. You can't, all this
my word,
stuff.
We're just hitting all the sayings.
So many of them.
So what I love is the tips that we have for stress management and or for dealing with compassion fatigue. These things are kind of obvious, but are you doing them? I don't know. I'm certainly not.
Set boundaries. Oh,
okay.
That's hard.
Sure. I mean, set boundaries is kind of like a broad over. You can have all kinds of boundaries. What boundaries am I setting?
This is something you talked to me about a good bit. How you say this is what your boundaries are, and even if it's one of those that I'm not going to deal with work stuff, or I'm not going to answer my brother's phone call on Sunday nights because I know that he's just calling to talk about, complain to me or whatever.
Is that a thing?
No.
Saying,
no, Chris doesn't do that.
Chris calls you up on Sunday nights.
No, I was just saying if somebody had it where they're the therapist for their family, essentially.
Yeah.
Or if it's because you've got to take care of you. You've got to do things like that.
So diet and exercise, obviously.
Yeah. Hobbies and leisure activities.
Yeah.
Finding that is important, that you think about when you're younger. You want your kids to be involved in something. So you're asking them, do you want to do soccer? Do you want to do book club? What do you want to do? But as an adult, we don't really have hobbies.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I actually considered.
Cam does.
Well, yeah. Cam will talk to you all day about disc golf. I remember when he first picked it up as a hobby, and he has continued to really love it a lot. And I wish I had something like that. For a long time, mine was running, which kind of ticks off the box of exercise and hobby.
Which is kind of his disc golf. It's exercise and hobby.
But I haven't run in a long, long time. And
it's hard to figure it out because at the end of the day, you're like, well, I've got work. And then anytime I have left over, then I've got to spend it with family.
Yeah.
And it's like, you feel selfish if you have a hobby that's
Well, so what you should do is you should get an accountability partner. Somebody to hold you to it, to make sure that you are taking care of yourself and sticking to your boundaries. And then I love the next one on the list also is gratitude.
opportunity to reflect on the things you're thankful for.
So basically, this is recognizing the stuff that is good in your life and being thankful for it.
Which we don't do. We often take advantage of everything we've got and we don't appreciate. And it's always doom and gloom. And it's important to find a good thing every day. I've got a friend that every time she writes a post on Facebook, it is just eloquently written and she finds the joy in every day.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'll be honest, like sometimes I find it very annoying because I'm like, you're just
I get
so
tired.
joyful and you're just so, but she'll be like, yesterday, I just needed to escape the area. So I kind of took off driving to more of towards the country life and took in the scenery. And as the sun was setting, and then I went to my favorite restaurant and got a vegetable plate and the food was delicious and my server was so kind to me, and then came home feeling refreshed, went to bed and woke up to start the new day. And I'm like, well, great.
Yeah.
Like,
good for you.
Yeah. It's inspiring that she can see all that but it's really the difference of I would have been like, oh, yeah, I need to go to bed. Oh, it's Monday again. What do I do? Like, so it's perspective, but it is so hard when you're in the doom and gloom, when you're stressed out to have, you almost need an accountability or somebody to pull you out of that and say, what good happened?
Yeah. Now, I will say that I'm the type that is guilty of, like, if you were to stop me and say, like, oh, what good is going
You'd be
on?
like,
I'd be like, nothing.
Get out of my face.
Yeah, leave me alone.
But see,
Stop with your positivity.
With having little babies at home, I saw this and then I had somebody tell me this, and it's so true. Every time you go in, like even if it's 3 a.m. and the babies are screaming, you have to walk in there and be happy. Because if you walk in there and are just angry or just sad or deflated looking, they feed off of you. And I've tested it. It's true. And it's really hard. Like I'm like talking myself up right outside their nursery. I'm like, okay. And I walk in, it's like, hi, are you okay? You're okay. And smiling. And it's exhausting, but I think then it weighs out because then they don't feel it. But there was another situation where one of my kids was like, just ended up being congestion in his chest. And I was freaking out and I'm holding him and he's just kept screaming. And my neighbor came over and was like, he feels how stressed you are. And so he's reacting to it. And of course, then I just started crying more. I'm like, I don't know what to do. But people feed off of each other.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's the other thing is, trying to, in the midst of the craziness, find that person that's overly happy and say, okay, can you help me? Like, I'm not in a good mood right now.
One of the things that I try to do, and I'm not a saint by any stretch. I'm no angel. But one of the things that I really make an actual mental conscious effort to do is I try to give other people the benefit of the doubt.
Yes.
And I try to, in my life, assume that there is probably some reason that someone is acting the way they are or someone did what they did. And I like to start from a place where I think this was not done maliciously.
It's not immediate blame.
Yeah, it's not. They're not trying to negatively impact me intentionally.
Yeah.
They just aren't aware of the impact that they're having. And if I just know why, then I can operate around it. So I think reacting not only to others with kindness and I hate saying this, but because I think it's kind of a touchy-feely word, but I think you have to give others grace. I think I'm using that expression properly, like affording some other people, like I said, giving them the benefit of the doubt, responding with kindness, but also remember that you can give yourself some leeway to be in your own feels, to have your own perspective and feeling about the way your life is going. So you don't have to, you can be kind to yourself, I guess, basically.
What's not on here, because I want to go back to boundaries and personal boundaries in a second, but it determines what profession you're in or what the situation is. But I would think that for me, to the best of your ability that you are allowed to, based on HIPAA or whatever governing body license, what you're allowed to share or not share, that if you were able to talk to somebody and kind of share with them what's going on, even if it was just I've got a client that's got this going on, and it's another colleague that is allowed to know that information but not know the specifics of who it is.
Right. Yeah. You most professions that deal with people's confidential information have restrictions on sharing that confidential information. Like being an advisor, we can't share people's personal identifying information, PII.
Yeah.
Doctors are restricted by HIPAA. They can't share people's medical information, but you can talk about what is stressing you out without revealing the personal details of somebody that you're working with.
Yeah.
So
the personal boundaries, this could be whether you're a mom, you're in these different capacities. We saw, if you watch the pitch show, then he had to just take a second to step away. Mm-hmm. He knew that he needed to, even though it was crazy what was going on in the building, he had to step away for a second because he was not good to anybody at that moment.
Right.
And so it's okay to take those personal boundaries, to take that second to step away. I know, like with us, it's somebody could get the short end of the stick in the fact that you just got stressed out, you just got beaten down by several different things, then they come in with something and you blow up at them. Mm-hmm. How many times have we all misdirected our stress?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've definitely bitten some people's heads off that didn't deserve it. So, yeah, misdirecting stress is I'm guilty of that a lot.
And that's where it's, remember to take deep breaths. And again, depending on what mood you're in when you're listening to this, you're rolling your eyes because I agree. It's hard to.
A lot of this stuff is kind of like, it's a truism.
Get enough sleep and take deep breaths and regular meal times and healthy snacks.
Duh. I mean, come on.
But it's true. It's okay if you need to step outside for a minute or go, instead of you sitting there eating your lunch at your desk, just go and do a little drive around the parking lot for 5 minutes because you're going to be better off in the long run. But
although if you guys are listening to us right now here in Shelby County, Tennessee, you don't want to be going outside. Actually, today it's not as bad, but it has been a hellscape out there. So maybe stay
Which
inside.
Has made everybody grumpy too.
Yeah.
But I agree with this whole, we're talking about compassion fatigue. We knew this was kind of going to be a short, really more discussion episode because it happens to so many. We see it with our clients. We see it within our coworkers, across the board, all different professions. You want to care. You want to be involved. You want to be intentional with what you're doing, but you also have to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And you've got to figure out your coping mechanisms, what works for you. And it's going to change over time. Like, I know I'm currently struggling with that right now because I'm trying to be back with work and be fully involved and here when I'm here, but also trying to be everything to my twins and making sure that they're taken care of. And I'm the last one to be taken care of. And so that's where I'm personally trying to figure out me before them was a totally different person. And but it's very normal for what I'm going through of like identity crisis and trying to figure out who I want to be because you're not the same person. Same thing was if you've got a spouse that all of a sudden is not doing well, then you consume your entire life into taking care of them. And then you're a shell of yourself. When something happens to them, they're gone. And you're just like, what do I do? And we've had so many conversations with widows that have come in and it's like my life was taking care of them for all these years and now I don't know who I am and what I'm supposed to be doing and he paid the bills or he did this or she did that. It's okay to admit like, hey, I'm fatigued. It's been too much.
Yeah, most definitely. Pay attention to those signs. Make sure that you are trying your best to remember that you have to take care of yourself in addition to caring for those who you are caring for. But it is okay that you are maybe sometimes feeling like you're over it and you're tired. I think that's as good a bullseye as anything.
I agree.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, there's the closing bell. You've made it to the end of yet another episode of the Bullcast podcast. If you liked what you heard and you'd like to hear more, please feel free to go to your favorite subscription service and sign up to have our podcast delivered directly to your device every single Thursday at noon. If you'd like to find out more about Cortland, Katie, Cameron, or Nicole, please feel free to go to our website. We've got bios up there. We've got pictures. That website is bullcastpodcast.com. We also have a place there where you can drop a comment or suggest a topic you'd like to hear us talk more about. But hey, I mentioned pictures. We do have pictures on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is at Bullcast Podcast, and we also have an X handle. That handle is at Bullcast Podcast as well. Finally, rounding out the social media, we have a Facebook page, which is Bullcast the Podcast. As we say in every episode, we do work at a place called Pickler Wealth Advisors, and if you'd like to find out more about us, or find out about what we do, find out about what we could do for you, find out about our amazing team, or find out about our boss, David Pickler, please feel free to go to that website. That website is picklerwealthadvisors.com.
That's advisors with an O.
Not an E. Ladies and gentlemen, we have given you everything you need to get out there and, I don't know, take care of yourself. Make sure that you're just being good to you. So for now, I'm Court.
I'm Katie.
And we're done.